Hi, I'm Dan Froelich. I build scale model railroads for people. I also build scale models of almost anything for any customer. In 1981, I began building models for attorneys to use as evidence in courtroom trials. I have built site models for developers. I have built scale models of their buildings and found mistakes as the architect drew them. I built models for people going for patent applications. I built models for myself. I built models for my children. I've enjoyed building models since I was about 10 years old, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Well, I've always been fascinated with trains, and as far as I'm concerned, steam engines are poetry in motion. If you sit there and you watch all those parts move, you wonder how in the heck anybody ever figured out how to make that go, you know? My dad used to take the train to work every day when I was a kid, and I used to go down to the station and meet him. And at first it was steamers, and then it went into bud cars, but it was still, trains. When I was little, my dad had a set of standard gauge trains, which he'd set up around the Christmas tree, and we'd play with those until they almost melted. And when I turned 12, he bought me my first set of Lionel O-gauge trains. The home movies of that time showed me opening the box completely upside down, but I was so excited I didn't care. And I had the trains go around the Christmas tree with my dad's, and after a while we took one of the finished rooms in the attic and turned it into a train room. I had 3 brothers. We each wound up with trains, so the train room was pretty full, and we had all kinds of fun playing. Other than this one, I have another one. It's built in place for a customer. It's also O-gauge. Long dimension is 22 plus or minus feet. There are 2 short dimensions. One is 12, the other is 8. And it was quite an enterprise to build. I was able to make the MTH trains do things that MTH said would never happen. So it was quite a feather in my cap. I built a 15 by 30 foot museum quality model railroad based on the 1949 Lionel showroom layout from New York City for a car museum up in Lake Park. Well, when I build these things, of course, the bench work gets done rather quickly. The track goes down rather quickly. And after that, things seem to slow down because it takes more time to do the small things than it takes to do the big things. But other than that, the artwork it depends on how much detail the customer wants. If they just want a toy train, and I've made those as well, I make a toy train. If he wants super detailed, as this layout is, I make it super detailed. If there was a place where you grew up that had trains and you have any pictures, or even if you know where it was, I might be able to find some pictures, and we can actually build a train that you know. I bring catalogs with me. I bring other information with me. I have a CD with pictures of other stuff that I've done, so maybe they can get some ideas. And then we discuss, A, does he have any material now? B, okay, what era would you like to model? Steam, loco, transition, or diesel? Then we figure out the area, the geographical area he wants to be his railroad in place. Does he want it to be prototypical? In other words, like, let's say the Jersey Central Railroad or the Penn Central Railroad or Denver and Rio Grande or whatever is out there. And we work from there. That helps to determine what kind of scenery we're going to have: mountains, hills, desert. It also helps determine the backdrops. The one here is just mostly industrial backdrop with oil tanks and commercial buildings and stuff. And then just hills on the other side. We have a dry wash. No water in it anymore. It's just a dry wash. There's a mine that goes down into the ground and brings up coal. We've got a big clump of hills over there with trees and a tunnel where the train comes through, an oil refinery, some other commercial businesses. And this end here is just a loop around, but it's in a tunnel. And he's probably going to want to just tree it all up pretty much. Operating model railroads, or even playing with toy trains, is a great opportunity for young people to be imaginative. I know when I was little, I used to think I was sitting in the engine of my steam locomotive as it went through my layout. I would put my eye down on the layout, just like this, you know, as the train came up and then made the turn, and it looked so cool. Of course, that was back before we had little bitty movie cameras like we have now. In fact, on some of these trains, I have installed TV cameras so that you can actually see what it looks like to be riding in the train. But it lets your imagination play. Too many people, not just kids, but too many people don't let their imaginations run wild. They let the TV do it. They let the James Bond movies do it, the Harry Potter movies, whatever. And that's where they get their kicks from, but it doesn't give them the imagination. It's like Calvin and Hobbes. He'd crawl into a cardboard box and call it his transmogrifier, and he'd come out as a dinosaur. Well, that's imagination with no money spent. Yeah, we got to spend some money for this, but you can develop an entire history of your railroad. You can develop an entire geological study about your railroad. You can learn about building things with your hands. You can learn about how to operate on a timetable. You can learn about history and how the trains came about. You can learn some geometry. For instance, you've got a radius on the track here. What is it? You have super elevation, where you actually raise the outside rail a little bit so that the train leans in, so that it comes around the corner, it doesn't fall out. You can learn electricity, electronics, by doing all the wiring. You can learn painting. You can paint the figures. You can paint the vehicles, the cars. You can weather them. As you see, some of these are pretty nicely weathered. And, you know, it's just, let yourself go. Just run with it. Have fun. Saying on Model Railroader banner used to be, model railroading is fun. It's never stopped.